All right, well, everyone's trickling in. I'll just get started with the introduction of STARS. What is STARS? So as you can see, I am sharing our screen today. We have our STARS, which means Small Town and Rural Area Students College Network. And as you can see on the screen here, I know it takes a couple of seconds to load, but we have the 32 schools that represent STARS, all ranging from private to public institutions all across the US. And of course, we always want you to choose the university or institution that best applies to you, all ranging from different majors or program pathway to location, different size as well, and so much more. But of course, at any point in time today, you can use the Q&A function below and ask your questions, and we'll be able to answer them as well. We'll also have a few time to answer some live if we have the time available as well, or we'll be using our typing to answer them in that feature as well. To continue on, we'll just quickly introduce ourselves, but to start us off, my name is Nancy Olguin. I am the Assistant Director and the Regional Manager for UC Berkeley for the Central Valley, as well as the STARS Lead for UC Berkeley. And then I'll pass it on to our representatives here.
Hi, everyone. Great to be here with you. My name is Ian Gregory Davis. I'm the Director of Rural Outreach and the STARS Program Director for Columbia University in New York City. I'll pass it off to Kwamina.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kwame Hansen-Saki, Senior Assistant Director here at Stanford University, and also serve as Program Director for the STARS College Network.
Hey everyone, my name is Brittany Dunavant. I am the STARS Coordinator for the University of Alabama, and I am also one of the regional recruiters in the state of Alabama.
Alrighty, and obviously, you know, STARS represents small town rural area students, and it's a way for colleges, universities to work together with high school students to access organizations and widen pathways to higher education and rural and small town students. This college network institutions provides new college access and affordable programs for rural and small town students, as well as communities to bring nation's best and brightest, no matter where they live, to a school that is best fit for them as well. So I'm going to continue on to talk a little bit about the types of applications that are available for the schools. So as you can see here, the types of applications that are available is the common application. Excuse me. It is the best way for students, and it is the most common between colleges and universities. This can be applied to nearly over 1,000 colleges. It is, you can select the different college that you want. It is just one application you can select based on the university that you want to apply for. For QuestBridge application, that one is basically you're matching, you're applying, and then that university is also selecting you. So you're kind of matching with the university if they are selecting you as well. So you are submitting an application with them, as well as they are basically selecting you. So that is a QuestBridge application, but that is also available depending on if the college or university has it available in their institution. The coalition application is pretty similar to the Common App, but it is only available for 150 institutions. If you're applying to University of Washington, you are required to use the Coalition app, and then you can also use SCORE. So again, just make sure when you are applying for these colleges or institutions that you are seeing which application is available for that institution specifically, so you know which one you have to apply through. And then, of course, you can apply directly through the university. So, for example, USC has their own application on their website that you need to apply directly through. And then UC Berkeley has the UC application, which isn't listed on here, but we're the only UC 4 stars. But we also have the UC application, again, another application that is available. Continuing on for our rounds and deadlines. This is pretty important for you to know, just in case if you want to apply early, if there's early decision, early action, regular admission. Just keep in mind that there are different specific application deadlines. So for example, early decision, it's early November. But if you are applying for early decision, it is binding for some universities. So meaning if you are applying early decision, if you are admitted for that university, that means that you have to go to that university because it is binding. If you decide later on, I don't want to go there, you have to go there because your admission is binding to that university. That is for early decision. If it's early action, that means it's not binding. So you can decide later on, I don't want to go there. You were accepted early on. Again, it's early November. So just keep in mind when you're doing your research that some of these are binding and others are not. But again, not every institution offers this binding or admission binding. It is only some universities that offer this option. Same thing with like financial availability is offered with that admission binding. So just again, do your research when you are looking to see if that is something that is offered and that if it is something that you want to do, and if it's something that is certain that you want to go to that university. And then rolling, that varies. It's usually, they accept students on a rolling basis. And then regular admission is between December through January. For the UCs is typically at the end of November. And then when do you hear back? Depends between mid-December, January, February, every 2 to 6 weeks, or March or April. So all of these, again, it all depends on the university that you are applying for. So again, just keep in mind, do your research when you're applying for these colleges. Keep like a calendar so that way you're marking and making sure you're not missing any deadlines because they are important. And then there are so many colleges that you can apply for and see the differences in the majors or the size or what the programs that are available that you want to do. Because every university is different. So again, just do your research and what it is that you are looking for. And again, for the deadlines and each that is offered. And then continuing on for our index. So each university also the reviewing process may be a little bit differently. So admission index can vary from holistic review. The admission index, they're typically just looking for the GPA, the number of courses that you've taken, as well as your test scores. So your SATs, ACTs, your A through Gs, and then your GPA. And then these institutions are a little less selective, and then their potential for hybrid evaluation. So this is the admission index. This is what they look for when they review your application. Compared to holistic review is when they're considering the student as a whole, and they're looking at the whole student or your whole application. They're looking at your personal background, your academics, your extracurricular achievements. Some students even require letters of recommendation, your essays. These schools are a little more selective in their application process, and their schools are a little more selective as well. So just keep in mind that these review processes, again, every institution is different and their processes can be a little different as well in how they do things. And then I will be passing it over to my colleague, Brittany, who will be talking a little more into the academics.
Thank you so much, Nancy. So, we are going to go over all of the different things that could be reviewed in your application. So, something really important for y'all to note is that every college has a different application process. So, when you're choosing which colleges to apply to, just make sure that you've done your research on what is required for each school and how their admissions process works. As Nancy just mentioned, some of the colleges are going to do a holistic review. So they're not just going to be looking at your grades or that coursework, but they're also going to be trying to get to know you as a person outside of the classroom. So again, those colleges, we're all going to want to look at your academics. So what grades you got, what classes you took, the rigor of those courses that you took. One of the things that a lot of admissions officials are going to look at is your transcript. This is going to go over everything I just mentioned. So it'll show what classes you took, if those classes were standard level classes, advanced classes, AP classes, IB, dual enrollment, anything along those lines. And then it's also going to show your grades or, show how well you did in those classes. Some schools are also going to ask for what's called your school profile. So, what that means is that we just want to see what opportunities were available to you through your high school. So, that can be what classes were offered or what clubs and organizations on campus. And then we're also going to just be looking at that for some demographics for your school and also some trends for the student body just to better understand how you compare to your peers. Some colleges and universities are also going to ask for additional information to get to know you a little bit better. Like Nancy mentioned, this can come in the form of letters of recommendation. So, some schools will require that a letter of recommendation comes from a specific person, such as a counselor or a teacher of a specific subject. If it's at, or if someone asks you to submit one from a teacher from a specific subject, a lot of times that's going to have to do with whatever your intended major is. And they're just there to, or they're just trying to make sure that you are very serious about that major, since you would be getting admitted with that major as your intention. So, next is testing. So, this is where requirements for each school can really begin to differ. A lot of colleges and universities are, or I guess not a lot of, all colleges or and universities are either going to be test optional, test blind, or test required. Of course, when I'm talking about testing, I am talking specifically about the ACT and the SAT. So, if an institution is fully test optional, this means that you can choose to submit the test scores or not submit your test scores. If you do submit those test scores, they will be considered for your admission. But if you don't, it's not going to affect your chances of admission. This is how the University of Alabama works, for example. It's completely up to our applicants on if they choose to submit those test scores or not. Some colleges, though, are going to make it to where only certain students can submit those test scores or where it's test optional for only some students. Usually, this is going to be based on class rank or the GPA that we have on file for you, but sometimes it can also be from a scholarship that the student has been awarded. If an institution is test blind, this means that you really don't even have to worry about taking the ACT or the SAT for that specific college application. Test scores are not going to be considered in your admissions application whatsoever, and it's not going to impact your admissions decision either. Now, test required schools are the exact opposite of that. So it's just as it sounds, it means that it is required for you to submit a test score in order for you to have that admissions application complete, and it will be considered in the admission for that college or university. Now, something that I really want to make sure I mentioned in here is that y'all should research for each school that you're going to apply to see if they take composite scores or super scores for those test scores. So, if you don't know what that means, composite scores are the scores that you receive from taking an ACT or an SAT in one single sitting. Maybe you took the SAT or the ACT 3 times. Let's say for the ACT, you got a 23, a 25, and a 27. Each of those is going to be a composite score. Now, your super score is going to compare how you did in each subject across all of those attempts, and then pull your highest score from each subject, from each of or from all of those attempts, if that makes sense. So just make sure that y'all research if schools use that composite score or that super score. Perfect. So we're also going to be looking at some biographic information, just some kind of identifying information like your name, your age, your sex, your gender identity, your preferred pronouns, and where you are from. A lot of times, schools will also ask you to explain your backstory a little bit. So that means, like, are you a first generation college student in your family? Are you a legacy at that school? Meaning, did your parents go there, your guardians, your grandparents, other family members, maybe your siblings? Did they attend that institution? And then some schools are also going to ask about any languages you speak, what your first language is, if you're bilingual. And again, just get some information about your high school and the courses you are taking. But that information about your high school will typically come from your transcript. Last thing that I am going to touch on is the activities. So, again, we are not trying to only understand the academic side of our applicants, but also the side of you outside of the classroom, right? You're more than just your grades. So, we want to get to know you inside the classroom and outside the classroom. And this includes any clubs or organizations that you're a part of, any jobs that you've had throughout high school, any leadership experiences or volunteer hours you've completed, any family responsibilities you may have had, and of course, any honors or awards, accolades, distinctions, anything like that that you may have received while you were in high school. One very big tip that I love to share with anyone that I talk to about applying to any school is that this is not a time to be humble. I know our whole lives we're told, be humble, don't boast about yourself, don't brag about yourself. Throw all of that out the window when it comes to applying. This is one of the only times in life where you should really brag about yourself. And so we want to make sure that you tell us everything that you have accomplished and all of the details. So when you're filling out these sections about your involvement, make sure you do that and make it very individualistic. Specifically say what you did, how you contributed to that club and organization that you were a part of, or what you did in your job, or what you did in your leadership role, or what you accomplished to receive that honor or that award or that distinction, or how many volunteer hours you did. Make sure you tell us everything. Don't leave anything off, because remember, if you don't tell us, we don't know. So I can't stress that enough. Please, please, please brag about yourself in that activities list. And with that, that's all I have for y'all. I am going to pass it off to Kwamina from Stanford.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brittany. Shifting gears a little bit, we're going to be talking about essays and then just other components of applications that exist. And so, first and foremost, with the essays, many applications would have the chance for students to complete a personal statement or some supplemental essays. My colleague Nancy spoke earlier about the fact that there are, different kinds of application, and some of them being shared platforms like the Coalition app or the Common app and the UC app as well. And so many of these applications would have that shared one where you're doing one application that goes to multiple institutions that you select. And sometimes, depending on the institution, there will be some supplemental essays that are targeted solely for that institution. And Stanford being one, Stanford exists on the Common App, and we also have some supplemental essays that we ask applicants to complete. And so the personal statement is a chance for these colleges to learn about you outside of the numbers, grades, transcript, test scores. It's an opportunity for schools to get to know you a little bit more, learn about your motivations, learn about what drives you, what are your passions. And so these are all the different spaces to which colleges get to learn about our students through the essays. it's really important that when going through those essays, you are addressing the specific prompts that are being asked by these institutions. There's a reason why those prompts are there. There's a reason why they're asking you that particular question. Some of these college applications might have a list of questions and ask you to pick whichever one you feel resonates with you the most. And some might just ask for just like short answer pieces where you're just responding in a few words to a particular question. And so it's important that you do some research on the school, learn what the main essay questions are, as well as what the supplemental essay questions are, and also learn about their style. Some schools might require it to be a little bit more academic setup, and some schools might just want it a bit informal, where it's like they ask the prompt and you're responding to it as if it's an interview where you're just asked and you just respond to it. So you really want to get a gauge as to the style to which each school wants you to tackle the essay questions, whether it be the personal statement or the supplemental essays that are given. And finally, I want to talk about the fact that it's important to also stick to yourself. I know there are different stakeholders, different people that have played different roles into your journey, but it's important that you center your responses on yourself. When all is said and done, you are the one who is applying to the school, and you are the one these schools want to learn about. So it's important that you focus it to you. I can tell you the number of times where we've read applications or read essays and applications where the story that the student is sharing a very important part of their journey, but end up talking about a family member, an event without taking it back to themselves. So it's really important to do that. So with other parts of the application that exists, we talk about the essays, there are also portfolios. Some schools would allow you the chance to present portfolios, whether it be art, music, any of those things. So it's important to research if you're interested in if you have portfolios to share, you want to do some research and figure out if schools that you are looking to apply allow for you to upload portfolios as part of it. And one other thing they ask for is resumes. We want to be able to learn about your accomplishment, what kind of impact you've had throughout your time, wherever you might be coming from. And so it's important to be able to share these things, the impact you've had in the community and your environment. And so that's also a big part of the application that colleges review and make a determination on. All right, so thinking further into other application factors that exist, some schools, would track demonstrated interest, and what demonstrated interest is, schools are looking at how students are engaging with them. Are they attending? Are they visiting the campus? Are they attending virtual programs? Are they, interacting with reps, current students, all of those things. Some schools do track that, and it really tells them that you are interested in your school, and if you were to be accepted, you would actually come. And some schools too might not necessarily track demonstrated interest, but it is for your benefits to be able to, attend that or their college visits, whether to your high school or to a neighboring area around wherever you live, attend a virtual event, visit the campus. All of that is just to help you ground your knowledge base as to the college that it is and see if it's the right fit for you. And so we would encourage students to look into that, whether it's demonstrated interest that adds value to your application, or it's just you interacting and learning more about the school that you are interested in applying to. And then the other piece is the school and major selection. Colleges are very intentional. The whole idea, and that's where our role comes in as admission officers. The goal is to bring students from different walks of life, different perspectives, different backgrounds, different interests. And so, as we're looking through applications, we're trying to bring, and we're looking at major interests also as part of it. So, Some schools factor in your major selection into it, and so there are more what we call impacted majors versus non-impacted majors, and those things can also, factor into, the decision whether you'll be admitted, waitlisted, or denied from those schools. But a school like Stanford, we don't factor in major into our selection. Anyone who's applying to us is applying undeclared, in essence, because we're just evaluating your application solely on whether you fit the Stanford culture. But there are other schools that factor in where it might be easier to apply to a certain major versus another to better your chances of getting in. So all in all, what we're saying here is it's really important to do research, do a lot of research about the schools, because schools might seem similar, but might be a bit different in the way they evaluate the application, and you want to have the right information so that you can be a little bit more targeted and intentional on how to craft your application to ensure that you maximize your chance of being accepted into those institutions. At this point, I'll hand it over to Ian.
Thanks so much, Kwamina. All right, so my colleagues have done a really amazing job of sharing information about each aspect of the application process. But now we wanted to give you a sense of kind of what it looks like on our end when we're reading an application. So for those of you that are joining us that are currently working on your college application, I'm sure you're intimately familiar with the information that we're going to share here. But for those of you that might not be starting yet, want to just give you a sense of kind of what this looks like on our end. Now, of course, this is a mock application. So the student here, Alan Landon, is a fictional student. None of this is real student data, but I wanted to give you all a sense of what it looks like. And so really these next few pages will mirror all of the information that my colleagues have just shared with all of us. So when we open up the Common Application, this is typically the first couple of pages that we will see, where again, really kind of biographic, demographic data that we're going to receive that you have shared with us, right? In terms of your name and where you live and your family, your household, and again, getting a sense in regards to your family in terms of whether your parents or guardians attended college, not attend college, right? Are you first generation? Did they attend the college that you're ultimately applying to? And does that mean that you might be, considered as a legacy student there? Do you have siblings or any of the siblings in college, right? All of that kind of stuff is what we're really going to see and review on these first couple of pages. We can go to the next page. Okay, so after the demographic data, then we receive some information about your current school that you're attending. Generally, this is where students will share with us kind of the classes that they are taking in their senior year. Now, we'll of course get those classes when we review the transcript, but early on, it's helpful just to get a sense of the courses that you are currently taking. You do see ACT testing here. Again, this will really vary depending on the school. If a school is test optional and you ultimately choose not to submit your test scores, then this testing section would be blank and it would just indicate to us that you have elected to not share your test scores with us. However, if you do choose to submit testing, then this is generally what it would look like. For both, the SCT or the ACT, and then if your school offers AP classes, if you're taking some of the AP exams, then this would show up as well. So we talked at depth in terms of the activities list, and really is that place to, share with us who you are, what you do outside of the classroom. So you can see an example of some activities that are listed here. I think something to think about in this process, generally, I really understand that it can be difficult and that you might want to kind of compare yourself to, to your peers or individuals that that you're seeing on social media that have submitted applications and I really urge you as you're kind of going through this process as best you can to really focus in on yourself and not think about anyone else and just really reflect on all of the different things that you do with your time outside of the school day. And it might just be taking care of your younger siblings. And you might think, well, anyone that has siblings takes care of their siblings. And I know all of these people that are also doing this. Like, why is that special about me? Or why is that something that I should put on my activities list? But ultimately, that is context that is tremendously helpful for us to have. And it's a very real part of your life. It is something that you must do on a daily, a weekly basis, however often you are engaging with that activity. And we want to know about that, right? So these activities could be things that you are engaged with at your school, but they certainly can be things that you're engaging with within your family or within your community. And any and all of those things are valid. There are not particular activities that we are looking for. We just truly want to get a sense of who you are, how you spend your time, how you live in this world outside of the time that you are in your classes at school. Now you can see how it's broken down here, and this breaks it down based on the information that you're sharing. So is this an activity if it's in school that you engage with in ninth, 10th, and 11th and 12th grade? Is it just one that maybe you started a little bit later on, you found this interest and you just started engaging in 11th grade and now kind of continuing on with senior year? You can indicate whether this is an activity through school or through your community or something that you did over a winter break. And then the number of hours per week that you engage in that activity. And again, that's really just kind of a guesstimate, throwing it together, whatever you think that is most closely kind of represents the number that is accurate for for whatever this activity is. But we do look at all of that information, and so it's really helpful to get a sense of, okay, is this something that you have been really engaged in throughout your 4 years in high school? Is this something that you picked up more recently? And it's helpful for us if it's more recent to get a sense of why you just all of a sudden kind of found an interest in this. And there could be a whole range of reasons for that, and that's totally fine. We just want to get a sense of why you are interested in the things that you are interested in. And so that's where you can kind of see this as kind of an explanation below the title to indicate to us, a little bit about what the activity is and why you've kind of engaged in it throughout your time in high school. Okay, so this is not exactly what the page looks like. We just wanted to make sure we got all of the information on a page so you can get a sense of it. But here, you'll see the personal essay, and again, just a really wonderful opportunity for us to just get to know you a little bit better. I really think about the college application as a window into into your life in a snapshot in time, right? So this is just at one moment, whether it's the time that you're writing the personal essay or you're completing the application or whatever it is, you're giving us a little bit of an insight into your world, which is so exciting. We really, really love getting to know you, and that is certainly where the personal essay comes in, right? And just hearing a little bit about what excites you, what you're thinking about at this time in your life. Now you can see on here that the transcripts, and of course that will vary depending on the school, but we will receive the transcript from your school, and we'll also receive a school profile, which is in the bottom right corner of the screen here. This is a really, really helpful tool for all of us to be able to consider what has been available to you within the context of your school and your community. So this school profile is something that every school should be able to produce. But if you have never seen a school profile, if you're not sure if your school has a school profile, I would definitely recommend connecting with your school counselors and just asking them if this isn't a document that is available to you, if you can kind of take a look at it, or because it really is something that we will be able to use throughout the process. And if you find that your school does not have a school profile, please feel free to reach out to us at the Stars College Network. We have mock school profiles. We are more than happy to connect with your school counselors and really kind of share some of the things that we feel are really helpful in reviewing a school profile. But that the school profile generally tells us the types of classes that are offered at your school, if there are any other types of programs that are offered. And that is really helpful as we're kind of looking at your transcript to get a sense of how you've been able to challenge yourself in your classes throughout your 4 years. All right, and then once we've gone through some of the academic information, then we get to hear from those that know you best. So we're going to read the recommendation letters, generally from a counselor, as well as from some of your teachers. And so these letters are a really wonderful opportunity for us to kind of, we've already heard from you. Now we're going to hear from these folks to get a sense of who you are as a community member, who you are as a student in the classroom. So this is a really, really great opportunity for some folks that have been with you day in, day out, if they're one of your teachers, to really help us get an understanding of how you have engaged in the classroom, the type of classmate that you are, how you interact with your peers, how you think about the academic material. So that is generally what we're looking for when we're reading these teacher recommendations. And then for the counselor recommendation, that usually can share some information with us about who you are as a community member, right? And a lot of what I know a lot of counselors share is based off information that you might share with the counselor that you would really like the counselor to indicate to us about who you are. And so I think that's a really nice collaboration between the student and the counselor a lot of times, and is a wonderful complement to what we're seeing and being able to read from your teacher recommendations. All right, so just quickly looking at kind of an applicant checklist. I think won't go through all of these things, but you can kind of take a look and take a screenshot or whatever is going to be helpful to you as you're kind of putting all of this together. But I do think as you're going through and you're thinking about the classes that you're really excited to take, starting to plan out that kind of curriculum with your counselor, that will be really helpful. Again, schools are not necessarily going to indicate specific classes that we would love for you to take. It really should be up to you and your counselor to really determine that based on what you're really excited about taking. We've talked about the different types of applications and the importance of kind of doing some research there in terms of whether you can submit a common application or whether there is a state application that you ultimately will need to submit, requesting those letters of recommendation from the teachers that know you best, that are really going to be able to speak to who you are as a student in the classroom. Getting a start on those essays and those supplemental questions and everything that we request of you. We absolutely understand that it is quite a lot, especially if you're going to apply to multiple schools. But again, really helps us get a sense of who you are in those parts of the application. All right, I know we're running low on time. I do want to make sure we get to at least some of the really amazing questions that you all have shared with us. So I think we can move over to that time now. And Nancy, I didn't know if you want to start us off with some of the questions that we have here.
Yes, there were a few. If one of you or several would like to answer, but how does an applicant put into stars the category for their school if there's a box that they need to check when they're applying?
Yeah, so I can start. That's a really great question. So Generally, if you're here this evening, then you're likely interested in kind of becoming a part of the Stars College Network. And really, just the way to do that is to fill out the interest form that is available on the Stars College Network website, and that will provide you with more information about who Stars is and how you kind of continue to engage with us, either virtually or in person. Generally, you can share with us that you have interacted with the Stars College Network either in kind of the activities list or there's kind of at the additional information section. So any of the areas where you can kind of input, what you do or want to give us some additional information, you're more than welcome to do that at that point in the application, and then we will be able to see that and know that you have engaged within and through the Stars College Network during your time in high school.
Thank you. And then another question we had on here, with test optional schools, is it good if you submit your scores if you did well, or if you didn't, not submit them? And I know I can start off. I know at least for the UCs, we are test free, so you don't have to submit them. I know each school is different of test optionals or test required, but at least for us, we are test free, so you don't have to submit them. You can if you would like to, but it will help with placement. Again, you don't have to submit them if you don't want to. But that is, again, I'm speaking for at least for UC Berkeley. I don't know if you guys would like to talk on your institution.
Yeah, I'll chime in a little bit. So for Alabama, we have what's called automatic merit scholarships, and for those scholarships, we're only looking at test score and your GPA that you have on that transcript. So I always encourage students to just look and see if their test score is anywhere near that automatic merit test score, kind of beginning test score. If they're anywhere near that, then I would normally say, yeah, go ahead and submit that test score. If you're pretty far away from that score, then I would say maybe apply test optional.
So for I'll add here. So for our Stanford test is required. I would definitely encourage students. We super score, which was talked about earlier, about benefiting you. However, number of sittings that you've had will take the best scores from either one of them. And so yeah, that's what I'll say with us.
Cool. And I have a question here, Brittany, that you wanted to answer live as well, but if anyone wanted to have a take on this as well. Will taking college classes benefit? Oop, I lost the question. Taking college classes benefit or help high school in the college applications?
Yeah. So again, just talking about Alabama right now, we like to see a lot of rigor. And I would say that that's probably pretty similar for a lot of institutions. We just like to make sure that you are ready for college, right? We don't want to throw you into something that you are not going to succeed in. So seeing those college level classes, whether that's dual enrollment, dual credit, AP, IB, even, advanced courses, all of that's going to help on college applications and it's going to make you more competitive.
And I am seeing a couple of questions about the link. If you type in Stars College Network, the website is on there. I'm not able to send the links, but you can find the website. It's just Stars College Network. And our website pops up on there. And there's different resources as well.
Nancy,
Did you want to say something?
if you wanna hop to the next slide, so have the QR code
Yes.
that folks can, yeah. So this QR code should take you directly to our website as well.
And then for summer programs, we have also each university will have their own fly-ins as well. On that same website, you can join the ones that are in your area or the ones that you're interested in. So each university, if they're available, they will be on there as well as webinars like this one, virtual programs, in-person programs. So take advantage of them. They are free for you, student. So again, take advantage while you can. Learn more about the colleges that are available to you in the area. Any last words from my colleagues here?
Really, we're
I
just
think
really excited that y'all joined today. So thank you so much, and thanks for bearing with us through the technical difficulties.
And I'll add that very much it's important to really research about the schools. There are 32 schools currently with stars, and research about them and learn about just the differences with testing, with grades and transcripts and everything else. It would help you a lot.
Yeah, and I would just say, we had one question just asking about kind of the benefit of being a part of the Stars College Network. And I would just say that we really want to be here to be a resource for you. As we mentioned at the top, this is 32 schools that are tremendously different schools from across the country. But we all really want to continue to bring students with the rural and small town perspective to our campuses. And so, both through virtual programming as well as the in person programming that Nancy had mentioned, through programs like fly in programs or group travel opportunities where we may be visiting your hometown or a hometown near you. We really want to get to know you. We want to be able to connect with you throughout your college search process. And so, if you do sign up, you'll receive all of our communications for our upcoming virtual sessions. You'll get a sense of whether we might be coming to your area or whether you could apply for any of the programs. So we look forward to continuing to engage with you, and please do not hesitate to reach out at any point to the network if there are other questions that we can help answer for you as you go through your college search process.
And
I
to
think,
what Ian was saying, when he's talking about us coming to y'all, I mean, I just got done doing what's called Stars in the South, and we went to Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas. I know that they're doing one in South Dakota and in North Dakota soon. I know that they're doing one in California. So we really do come to y'all. So just be on the lookout. Like Ian said, check the website, see any upcoming events that maybe y'all can come to, whether virtually or in person.
yeah. And again, they are free for you all. All you have to do is just show up. They're no cost for you. Again, we travel to you. You get to learn about our campuses, what we offer, the STARS program in itself. So again, it is benefiting you, the student. So that way you can learn about our campuses and what we offer. But I am seeing a common question here. One last question before we all depart. Is there a difference between APs, honors, and dual enrollment for each university? I was seeing that pretty common right now. Does anyone want to talk about that a little bit? Like, does it hold any weight? Is there a difference between your university?
For UA, no. One doesn't hold weight over the other at the end of the day, as long as you pass the test for the AP course. That's still college credit, still a college level class. So at Alabama, no, but I will let my colleagues talk about their own institutions.
Sorry, can I get a question again? My line was kind of shaky.
Yeah.
Yes.
So does honors, APs, and dual enrollment courses hold any weight amongst like the other, or is it equal for Stanford?
So for us, it really just depends on what the course is, and we'll look at it from that standpoint. The honors course that you're taking versus the common college, but either or, it still works to show us that you are challenging yourself and taking classes that are showcasing that you will be able to handle the rigor of the curriculum here at Stanford. So whatever the case is, it all works to your benefit because you're not required to do that. And so you doing that, it just shows an added initiative from your end.
Yeah, and for Columbia, as I was mentioning, this is where the school profile is tremendously helpful for us, right? The school profile will indicate to us whether honors, AP, IB, dual enrollment classes are offered at your school. We generally want to see students taking the most rigorous courses that are available, and so if there are honors and AP courses that are available, then generally, if students are taking those classes, that's great. But we're also not going to penalize a student that might attend a school that does not offer any of these classes. That is entirely out of the control of the student. And so, really, what we're looking for is whatever the kind of most rigorous courses are that are available, regardless of the level. We just want to, see that students are really, challenging themselves, doing very well in those courses. But in terms of the types of courses that a student is taking, that of course is up to the student in terms of what is most exciting to you and how you're putting your curriculum together.
Yeah, same here for Berkeley. One or the other doesn't hold more weight. We just want to see that you're taking those rigorous courses. Again, what is offered to you, if only 10 APs are all that is offered, but you're taking those 10 APs, great. We just want to see that you're challenging yourself, and you're taking what is offered to you. So again, yeah, it's not, one isn't holding more weight over the other. We just want to see you challenging yourself. Um, but yeah, I think that is all from us. We want to thank you again for joining us. And again, we apologize for the technical difficulties today. But again, if you have any questions, feel free to look at our website. If we're in the area, please visit us, and feel free to scan the QR code for more information. But thank you all and have a good rest of your evening.